now. Ballard Clark. Going back from Amelia Peck. Amelia Peck, the former Tiger, having a good season for the boys up forward. Back from an ACL injury, going for a second already. She's got it. Second for Amelia Peck.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Scoops VFLW Game Changer Show. I'm your host, Scoops, the sole admin of Scoops. Now, what a weekend of VFLW footy it was. Results, not really a surprise to me, to be honest, because last time I checked, maybe bar one, the rest of the results I got correct. As you just saw there, Amelia Peck, the former Tiger, kicked 5 goals on the weekend. Now, I have the Insta reel, which has all her 5 goals and everyone else's goals from the weekend in that clip. But if you want to watch a full game in full, or the highlights in full, it's on the YouTube channel, on this channel. So please go subscribe if you haven't already and give it a watch and share it around. I would greatly appreciate it. But yeah, Millie Peck kicked 5 goals, and I said in that video it was the best individual game I've seen all year. Not just from a forward, but from any player this year. Ange Gokus had a game where she had 33 disposals and like 17 clearances. It was unheard of. And then Molly Eastman had one of the best games for a defender I've seen in VFLW football ever, against Sandy a few weeks ago, or a few games ago, rather. She had around 20 disposals, but her impact was very, very strong. And then I thought, yeah, Millie Peck's was the game of the season. Then Nike to Jock said, no, that's my title of having the best individual game all season, and she kicked 7 with like 14 disposals and like 8 marks against Geelong. So, yeah, some standout performances. My VFLW team of the week is a very, very hard one to debate. Some easy selections, some players that were always making it, like Millie and Nike. But yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see what the rest of the team shows. Now on the show today, I'm going to go through my VFLW team of the week. I'm going to review the round just gone and upcoming. Going to talk about the Scoops VFLW medal in the second, and obviously the world famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. I wonder what I'm going to rant on about this evening. But I actually want to start with this news. Congratulations to Lulu Beattie from the Darebin Falcons and former Carlton AFLW player. Lulu has joined Richmond as an injury replacement player, joining their AFLW side. So one on the Lulu Beattie, who had a terrific season to start off with Darebin, was a key part why they won 4 in a row. And then she didn't play on the weekend, obviously, and they lost. So, obviously, she's a big part of Darebin and absolutely deserves a go at Richmond's AFLW side. Will she play midfield in the AFLW, though? That's the real question. She was playing in the back line at Carlton in their AFLW side prior to joining Darebin in the VFLW. Played mainly mid now and killed it. I wonder if Richmond, with losing Ailey Sheeran, whether Lulu can provide another option in that midfield with obviously the star of the competition in Mon Conti, the best player in AFLW history, might I add. And then obviously Ali Dalloway will be in there as well. Grace Egan will be there as well. And Sierra Greaves as well, who they've just drafted, one of their top draft picks as well. So some options for Richmond to ponder, and I'm sure they'll have a good year yet again. So well done again to Lulu Beattie. Now, if I mention one player, I've got to mention the other. Jess Verbiage, who plays for East Perth in the Waffle W competition, has joined Essendon's AFLW side. So under Jess, she's 21 years of age, utility and athletic player, and can run all day. So a good selection there for Essendon, who have another list spot open. So if you're an AFLW player, a VFLW player, or Waffle or Sample or whatever, and you're playing in those leagues, Essendon still have a spot open. I believe there might be one other spot elsewhere as well, and plus injuries happen all the time, so spots can be open. Some players I mentioned last week, like Stacey Stevenson, Amy Trindade, Talia Sanger, Isla Baldwin, Lily Rose Williamson is another one you can throw into that mix, having a good season at Collingwood, playing mainly through the midfield, where she didn't at Essendon when she was on their AFLW list. There's Millie Peck, another go after kicking 5 goals. Does Nike de Jock finally get that opportunity that she should have had last year or even earlier, and be drafted to an AFLW club? All those names I just mentioned off the top of my head, without even looking this all up, should be on AFLW lists. If it's not now, it should be by the start of the season. Obviously, you have to have list spots available, but they're the names I'd be looking at from the VFLW competition at least, to join AFLW lists. And they all provide something as well. And I would have added Lulu into that conversation, and now she has finally got her opportunity back at AFLW level. So if you're a VFLW player watching this, just know all it can take is a good patch of form in one season or half a season that can get you recognised. Some players like Lulu and Co that have been redrafted from formerly being on AFLW lists, sure might be in their favour, but it can also be a downside for someone in that position, because maybe then clubs kind of see them a bit more and they go, oh, damn, they haven't gone too well at that club they were at. Now they're playing VFLW and they're going well again, but like they've had that chance. Just because you get delisted from an AFLW club doesn't mean you can't get it again. But it also doesn't guarantee that you're going to get a spot over someone that's never got one before. Some clubs might go, look, this player's got their capabilities and their limitations, and that's as far as they'll go. And then someone that I've just mentioned that hasn't played AFLW yet before, like Talia Sanger or Sasha Stevenson, were very stiff not to be drafted last year. Like names like that might get a better opportunity ahead of those other ones that are ex-AFLW players, because they haven't had the chance to prove it at that level yet. And the level they've been at has been very, very good. So never say never. I mean, let's just say if I was a list manager at a club right now, those names I just listed off would be on my list right now, especially if there was vacancies. And to be honest, if I'm being brutally honest, some of those I just mentioned that weren't drafted, in particular the ones that haven't been on the list yet, so Sasha Stevenson, Isla Baldwin, Amy Trindade, Talia Sanger, they're just names at the top of my head. They'd be on an AFLW list right now if it was up to me. But unfortunately it's not, but I would love to be in recruiting one day. That'd be good, because if that's the case, those players would be on an AFLW list by now. And obviously there's more and more through all state league competitions. But yeah, so this is the VFLW show, the VFLW Game Changers show. So let's get right into the thick of things, shall we? All right, so as I said, Madunda Lulu and Jess were getting signed at Richmond and Essendon. Now, my Scoops VFLW medal count, the inaugural Scoops VFLW medal, will be on after round 14 and before week 1 of finals. That's as good as mine. I'll have to figure it out then. But I'm going to want to make that show as big as it's ever been before. So I'm going to put it out there to people that play at the VFLW level or any of the other state league levels that would love to co-host or be a part of this episode. I would love to have you on here. It's going to be a good vote count night. It's going to be a close one, I'm sure. It's just not just going to be the vote count. I'll probably have my most improved player award. I'm going to reveal my All-Australian team on that same show as well. So, look forward to that. And I'm sure it's a night that you will not want to miss. In fact, I know it's a show you're not going to want to miss, because if you've ever seen any of my installments of my AFLW Scoops medal and my AFL Scoops medal, they are the best show on this channel each and every year. No matter what league it is, it's always a good vote count. It's always a highly viewed one, and it's a very thrilling show with all the highlights and everything like that in between. I'll go through everything and I'll give you more details the closer it gets. So if you know any players in the VFLW competition or any of the other state leagues, and you'd love to see them on the channel in a Gold King challenge and or an interview, or be on the Scoops VFLW medal show or co-hosting this weekly show, please send me a message on Instagram, AFL Info Live. We're approaching 4,400 subscribers on Insta, or followers on Insta, so I really do appreciate it. That's the thing there, and it's called Scoops, but that's the username thing as well. All right. Okay, now it is time for that world famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang Boom. Well. Another week of the clock not stopping. Yes, that's correct. Now, there was two 2-minute delays in the Sandy v Carlton game on the weekend. There was 2 instances. I can't remember the first one, but Mel Bacuna was the second player who went down for about 2 minutes. And the clock just didn't stop. And I know it didn't stop because the siren went right on 20 minutes. In fact, I think it went at 19:56 or 58. Like, that's not even 20 minutes to start with. Very bizarre that I'm going to have to keep bringing this up. Like, you had an injured player. Mel didn't come back on. There was a player earlier in the game that didn't come back on either, or, was out for a few minutes. And it was just very frustrating because what if that game was close? It's a prime example, Collingwood and Box Hill. Box Hill probably should have won if it wasn't for the shot clock not stopping in that game. And I mentioned it then. And when behinds are kicked, the clock should stop and everything like that. Boundary throw-ins, injury delays, after goals, stoppages, everything. Just like the AFL do, and the majority of the AFLW competition does with their rules. That depends on how long left in the quarter it is. But it needs to stop. This problem's been happening for years. I said it at Waffle W a few years ago. I've been calling this issue out publicly for a very, very long time. And I've spoken to a lot of players and people that know players and people that watch the league and everything like that. And they don't like it. They don't like the clock doesn't stop. So how about the competition actually do something and actually make the clock stop, when there's stoppages, injury time and everything like that, or players are injured, they're down, people that are trying to time waste. It's in the rules, but it shouldn't be allowed because you shouldn't be doing it. And you shouldn't be allowing it to be a rule to be manipulated. The rule that's in place with it now has to be adjusted, effective immediately. I'm sure if you go ask any player or coach, if that was to be changed effective immediately, no one would have any complaints. So how about you just fix it and get it done? Please and thank you. God. Oh, and also on Scriptures being also another topic. Why were like 4 of the 6 games all on at the same time? We had a 10:35, a 10:35, 11:05, and 11:35, and a 12:05 or something like that, and then the 2:30 or 2:05. Like, what's with this clashing? And then the sole game on the Sunday. Like, spread the games out over the Saturdays and Sundays. If you want to make it easier and you want to make them earlier, how about this? You do one at 11 o'clock, you do one at 12:30, and you do it one at 3 or something like that, or 11, 2, and 4. You've got Whitten Oval, you've got Icon Park, you've got a few other grounds that you could play at night. Sure, there's some that you can't. So adjust accordingly. Make the earlier games the grounds that don't have lights. And I think at 4 o'clock, when it finishes at 6, I think you can make it work. Or do 10:30, 12:30, and 2:30. And do that over the Saturday and Sunday period. Or have the rare Friday night game and you take out one of those games on the Sunday. The later one even, or even in the middle. So people have the opportunity to go to more games. You want the game to grow, give everyone like myself the prime opportunity to actually be able to physically go to more than one game on the same day. But at the moment, it's basically virtually impossible to do so. And I'm not the only one that doesn't like this. Speaking to some players during the last few weeks in particular, and I've been saying to them, about going to the games and stuff. And they're like, I'd love to go to see XYZ play, but I can't because our game's on at the same time. Or it finishes 10 minutes within it. It starts within the same half an hour of each other. And then you've got to get to the venue and the game's done by the time you get there. It's like they want to go support their mates too. So how about the competition supports us, the people, the fans, the players, the volunteers, everything that have got mates in more than one side. And you want to grow the competition, actually let us be able to physically go to more than one game on the same day. And then you'll have more people there, more of an atmosphere, even better. And the atmosphere at the moment is good at some games, but you want it to be even better than what it is. Give us the opportunity to actually go there. It's frustrating. The competition, please adjust accordingly and effective immediately. Thank you. Right. Hope you all enjoyed that edition of the world famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. Alrighty. It is now time to go through my Scoops VFLW Round 8 Team of the Week. From the backline, the pockets, Delaney Madgen and Sarah Sonetti. Full back, Nadia von Bertouch. Half back line, the flankers, Deanna Jolliffe and Matilda Van Berkel. Centre half back, Stacey Livingston. Wingers, Charlotte Brewer and Talia Sanger. Centrewoman, Tess Cattle. Our four line, the flankers, Charlotte Blair and Sophie Locke. Centre half forward, Nike DeJock. Forward pockets, Bree McFarlane and Jada Richardson. Full forward, Millie Peck. Ruck, Paige Price. Rovers, Abby McDonald and Amy Trindade. Interchange, Mia Caffrey, Alana Barber, Dom Carbone, Layla Prince and Hayley Peck. The emergencies, Stacia Stevenson, Abby Trugalis, Jess Matten, Georgia Howes, Stella Reid, Amy Karras-Brett and Maddie DeCosmo. Now, reasons for these selections, I mean, it's always hard every week to choose a team because there's always a few extra ones I want to fit in, but I just don't have the opportunity to fit in. So let's remove that banner for a second. So here we are. So, you know, Delaney had a really good game for Casey in the back line, had about 11 disposals, but like 8 intercept possessions. You know, for a side that's really struggled, it's good to have some players stand out, and Delaney did do that, the former AFLW player as well. Now, Sarah Sonetti for the Bulldogs has been playing well, the former Pie at AFLW level. She's been really good since joining the Bulldogs, playing in the back half of the ground. Had about 16 disposals and just having a key impact in the game. And they did beat Port Melbourne in a close game. And she played her part for sure in that game. Deanna Jolliffe for Sandy was a key part in why Sandringham were really strong in the second half in particular. DJ, as she's known by now, well, that's her nickname anyway. Yeah, she played really well in the back half, especially in that second half. You know, when Sandy started to get going, DJ did as well. Matilda Van Berkel for Hawthorn or Box Hill. Again, at this stage, unless something bad happens in terms of not playing any more games, Matilda's going to be in the All-Australian team. I mean, she's in this team almost every week, so logically speaking, she'll have to be in there. You know, just a reliable defender for Box Hill. I mean, they've got some good players all the way around the ground, but Matilda Van Berkel has been absolutely phenomenal and absolutely warrants a spot here. Now, Nadia von Bertouch, I hope I'm getting her name right. I'm still trying to find out if that's actually how I pronounce her last name, because the commentary on the weekend absolutely butchered it. So just not helping my cause anymore. But Nadia was really good. She had 20 disposals. I actually thought in the first half she wasn't so strong, but the second half just was so noticeable down in the back half. But Sandy were really good in the second half in the forward and now in our forward line. So it's like, it's an interesting one, but she did really well. 20 disposals, had a good impact in the game. Deserves a spot. Now, Stacey Livingston, what a find for Sandy. Out of nowhere, retired at Collingwood's AFLW last year at the age of 37, and was fantastic for Collingwood's AFLW side, a leader down in the back line. She was really good. She had 11 disposals, but it was nothing to do with that. Her presence, she like running an attack on the footy, her strong marking, her experience, her leadership, just all that put together. Her game was phenomenal, and for someone that's probably not had a preseason at VFLW level, in fact, she hasn't, because she only just joined Sandy during the week last week. So first game after a few training sessions, if that, is seamlessly fit in like she's been there all year. And to replace a former AFLW teammate in Ellery Morris in the back half, Sandy needed some support there for Tashan Whistle and, you know, DJ as well. So it was great to have Stacey join Sandy, and it's a player that they absolutely needed. And is she going to help Sandy bounce back into finals? We're in the top 6 again right now. Charlotte Brewer, I mean, I'm telling you right now, she was locked in this team before I even locked in who's in where and everything. I just put her on the wing, and that's where she was. Her run and attack on the footy on the weekend was great. I've been to 4 Collingwood AFLW games, 4 VFLW games for the Pies now, and she's been impactful in all of them. But more so this game, like her run through that for being a tall player and a lighter framed player, you know, her run and attack was very brave, courageous, and very, very influential. She just ran through packs like no one was there and got through them easily. She did that about 4 times. And there was a good handball that she did in a pack where she was getting tackled over the top, over the handball over the top of someone to her teammate. I think I went to Bella Clark at the time. And she did really well, and absolutely was a lock and had about 16, 18 disposals on the wing as well. Talia is saying her teammates having a terrific year. I couldn't even speak there. Talia is saying is having a terrific season. Like 26 disposals. Didn't kick a goal this week, but 26 disposals was a key influence as to why the Pies won and started so well. And she absolutely was a lock. Again, like Charlotte, was a lock before the team was even announced. Tess Cattle was phenomenal for Box Hill. 2 goals, 22 disposals. I believe this is only a few times she's appeared in the team of the week, but she's been good all year. She's just fallen short of getting named because of so many star midfield performances or players kicking X amount of goals in a certain round, and unfortunately she's just fallen out. But she's having a bloody awesome year in that midfield, along with Stacia Stevenson, along with Brewer Baldwin, and everyone else that pushes through there. She's been really, really good and influential as Tess Cattle, and on the weekend had about 12 clearances as well. So an absolute lock was Tess Cattle. Charlotte Blair kicked 2 goals with 22 disposals for the Roos, was a lock in their massive win over Geelong. Nike kicked 7 goals with 14 disposals and AMUX. Yes, 7 goals. Nike is leading the Coleman now on 22 goals, which has already equaled her tally from last year when she was equal first with Monique Di Matteo, who's on 14. Caitlin O'Keefe is on 12. Jess Madden's on 11. And Amelia Peck is on 10. But, she was phenomenal, Nike. Yes, Geelong are a weak opposition, but that doesn't matter. 7 goals is 7 goals, and she was phenomenal in her best on-ground performance. Sophie Locke kicked 2 goals and 12 disposals. Not the biggest disposals, but Sophie's playing a little bit through the midfield and up forward. I did put on my Insta story. It was a great mark that she got from Imogen Evans, kicked it in, and she burst through her opponent and kicked the ball out. And then Soph just was being held and still managed to hold it one-handed and juggled it really well to perfection. It was smart from Imogen Evans and Sophie Locke. Just 2 key players for Sandy each and every week. I know Imogen's not in this side for me this week, but she was also very good. But Soph, 2 goals, 12 disposals. In key moments in the game in the second half, when Carlton were a chance to win, Sophie said, "Not on my watch, pal." And she was very, very good. Bree McFarlane kicked 2 goals and 11 disposals for the Bulldogs in what was a 10-point win. Bit of a game changer there was Bree McFarlane, that forward. Millie Peck kicking 5. She was phenomenal. At the time, that was the best individual performance I'd seen all year. Then Nike went and kicked 7, as I said a few times now. But before that, and that aside, Millie Peck's game was the best performance for the Pies this year, and they've had great performances all the way around with Molly Eastman and Talia Sanger and Charlotte Brewer, Courtney Jones and Bella Clark and a lot of other players as well for the Pies. They've won 5 in a row, the Pies, and they are flying. And Millie's on fire. She seems to kick a goal or 2 a game. She kicked 5 on the weekend. She didn't play the first few weeks because she was coming back from an ACL injury, but 5 on the weekend. Locke, 14 disposals. She destroyed her 2 opponents, Sophie Malone, and a few others that ended up switching and rotating on her. Jada Richardson, though, for the Bombers, she was really good. 2 goals, 12 disposals. A tall player that's played all over the ground a little bit, like moved around the ground really well. Her running patterns were really good. She kept going up and down, didn't give up, and she kicked 2 goals and got the reward that she deserved. Paige Price, again, so many individual performances this round were freaking phenomenal. Paige Price kicked a goal and 16 disposals, but it was nothing to do with that. 61 hit-outs. Paige Price is going to almost have to be a lock for this All-Australian ruck spot this year. I mean, there's a few others that have got some question marks on that spot. They were questions they had for me to say, hey, what about me? I might have 2 rucks in the team this year. One might be on the bench. But Paige Price is almost a guaranteed lock. She's almost been in every round, I think, and rightfully so. She's been phenomenal. For the Bombers, Abby McDonald kicked a goal. Sorry, didn't kick a goal, but almost did. 24 disposals. She had 9 clearances. She deserved a spot on the team. She was really good. Amy Trinidad had about 30 disposals for Carlton. Had 8 clearances. She was a lock. She was best on ground for me. Even with Sandy's big second half and victory, Amy Trinidad was phenomenal. Mia Caffrey was Port Melbourne's best player. She had about 18 disposals, had decent efficiency as well. Lots of contested possessions and clearances as well. Alana Barber had about 24 disposals, about 7 clearances. She was really good. Dom Carbone had 28 disposals, about 12 clearances. Now, you could argue she should be on the field, but I feel like Cattle, Trindade, and Abby McDonald were better. But she was very good, though. Dom Carbone, the skipper of the Pies. Layla Prince, she was phenomenal. She easily beat Erin McKinnon, who's a former AFLW player as well, in the ruck. Did Layla Prince. Kicked a goal, had like 17 disposals, like 20-something hit-outs. She was really good. It's hard to do votes for that Collingwood Essendon game, I'm telling you that right now. But Layla Prince was phenomenal. Hayley Peck, another ruck for Geelong. Now, normally Geelong players don't feature because simply they haven't been that good. But Hayley Peck's game against Kate Reynolds, might I add, who is also a former AFLW player as well from the Swans. Hayley Peck's game was just one you cannot ignore. I mean, her team were terrible, and that's just the harsh truth, harsh reality. But she was awesome. Oh, and I mean, like, really awesome. She had 18 disposals, 23 hit-outs, but then on top of all that, she had 10 clearances and 6 intercept possessions and 4 rebound 50s and 2 score involvements. I mean, for a team that doesn't score, 2 score involvements is phenomenal. Like, I just could not ignore the form of Hayley Peck on the weekend. That was phenomenal. But then I couldn't ignore Layla Prince. And then I definitely couldn't ignore Paige Price this game. So it's like far out. They all deserve a spot. So I've gone with 3 there. And to be fair, they can play forward if need be. It's a team of the week, not a team you would name for the weekend. But they were awesome. All the players on the bench. Stacey Stevenson played a bit more forward than a little bit of mid this week, had 18 disposals and about 11 tackles. You could say she was very stiff. But basically the extra ruck is what kept everyone on this emergency list, not just Stacey, but everyone on the emergency list out of the team. It's no knock on them. They've been phenomenal. Stacey's been in my team almost every week and has been an All-Australian contender for sure this year. Abby Tregallis had a really good game for getting 21 disposals. Jess Matten kicked 3 in 12. The only reason I didn't put her in is because I feel like her goals all be very good. It doesn't matter when you get them as long as you get them. But because it was so hard to pick a team this week, she did kick 2 goals late when the game was over. So I just kept her out basically for Brie McFarlane and the ruck on the bench, essentially. Amy Karras-Brett, 14 disposals. She was really good for Box Hill. Stella Reid kicked a goal in 16. She was great. Georgia House for Williams down in the forward line kicked a goal and 14 disposals. She was good. And Maddie DeCosmo had around 24 disposals for North Melbourne, was also very, very good. All right. So let's go through reviewing the round 8 game, shall we? So let me get that graphic up. All right, let's review those round 8 games, shall we? So, where do we begin? Wrong banner. Yeah. So, we begin here with the round. Started on Saturday. I mean, all the games were on Saturday bar 1. So, let's go through them. Western Bulldogs 5-3-33 defeated Port Melbourne 3-5-23. Mia Caffrey was best on ground by a mile. Brie McFarlane was good for the Bulldogs. Mia for Port Melbourne. Eloise Ashley Cooper was solid for Port Melbourne. I thought Hannah Foran was really good in the ruck, a young ruck, who, when I had their coach on Thomas, had said what a great debut she had that week prior to the week off. She was good again. They had Ava Seaton did really well. They had a few players do pretty well. But in the last quarter, though, Georgia Booth was back from her basketball commitments. She was really good in the ruck. But in the last quarter, against the wind, Bulldogs were, Port Melbourne kicked 5 behinds. They were 3 straight at 3-quarter time. And that was the only score in the last quarter, was those 5 behinds from Port Melbourne. And they lose by 10 points. So they were down by 15, have 5 shots, and don't hit the lead, which is disappointing. I'm sure Thomas won't be pleased that they didn't get the win and didn't take their opportunities. But then with the wind, the Bulldogs took their chances and Port Melbourne didn't. I think that's as simple as you can get it. But nonetheless, a win for the Bulldogs and keeps them just outside the 8, just outside the 6. I don't know how many times I say the 8. Just outside the top 6, but good to get a win over a good side in Port Melbourne without or only with 2 AFLW players. Maybe Bulldogs play none and let your Bulldogs players have fair opportunity. Just telling you. Because you'll have players leave again, like you had this year. You had like 6 to 8 players and good players leave. You're going to have about 4 more or so if you keep this up with player availability and stuff like that with AFLW players in the team over players that are actually signed up to play in this competition. But yeah, good win for the Bulldogs in the end. So Casey 3-5-23, defeated by Williamstown 6-4-40. I mean, this is probably Casey's second best game of the year behind the Sandy game. And I mean, you could argue this was their best game of the year because that one against Sandy, they had Megan Fitzsimon, Georgia Campbell, Georgia Gall, Maeve Chaplin, I believe, as well, Saray Taylor. So, you know, credit to Casey. They were actually leading at one point at the start, and they kept within arm's length of Williamstown. So Williamstown will be happy they got the 17-point win, but I don't think they'll be thrilled because they never really got the opportunity to put Casey to the sword in Casey. Ruby Mahoney was good for the Williamstown side. Emily Eves was good as well. Georgia Howes, as I mentioned. Casey Delaney Madgen was their best players. And they had a few players like Shay Fairchild was really good as well. They had a few even contributors at the top of the board as well, like Williamstown. Williamstown are never a side that really has a lot of players get over 20 disposals, if at all. But they have a lot of players be consistent. And that's what you need as well. But they got the win, and they are in the top 4. Williamstown. Right, the next game I want to go through is Collingwood 7-5-47 to Essendon 6-3-39. The Pies by 8 points. Well, Amelia Peck kicked 4 of her 5 goals in the first quarter. Phenomenal. Best individual quarter all season. You know, Charlotte Brewer, the game of her life. She was phenomenal. If there was going to be anything I thought she had to work on, it probably was that running through players and taking the game on a bit more. And she did that on the weekend, and she passed with flying colours. This is why someone like Charlotte deserves an AFLW opportunity because, I mean, you know, when I watch the games, I go, okay, what's their strengths and what do you feel like they could work on? And I feel like just watching 4 Collingwood games this year, well, 3 before the weekend, I thought if Charlotte was to nail something else, it would probably be trying to fix that part of a game. And well, on the weekend, she was phenomenal. And I'm sure AFLW recruits were there, and I saw some there because I know some of them. I won't name them on here, but they were there. So what a game to perform in for not only Charlotte, but Millie Peck and some others as well. So, yeah, Bella Clark was really good. She had 15 disposals. Dom Carbo and the skipper, 28 disposals and 12 clearances. Molly Eastman, Tamara Henry in the backline, Millie Lang were also very good. Tali Sanger, 26 disposals to the midfield. She was freaking phenomenal and should be on an AFLW list. I don't know how many times I keep saying it. I'm going to keep on saying it about Isla Baldwin, Stacia Stevenson, Amy Trinidad, and Tali Sanger. And now Charlotte Brewer, you can add to the list of... I will keep on bringing it up until they're on AFLW lists. So, recruiters, I'm sure you're watching this. So, Tali Sanger, Stacia Stevenson, Isla Baldwin, Amy Trinidad, and Charlotte Brewer. So, just saying. Let's get this sorted and let's hope they can get an AFLW list spot. But for Essendon, Jada Richardson was really good. 2 goals, 14 disposals. Abby McDonald through the midfield, the former Geelong player. 24 disposals, like 8 clearances. She was really good. Jada Richardson, Layla Prince in the ruck was phenomenal. I thought Drew Ryan, she had a very, very good Courageous Muck, which is in my matchday vlog. So go and check that out. That was probably one of the highlights of the game, along with Tali Sanger's rundown tackles and Charlotte Brewer's burst through packs and Amelia Peck's strong contested marks to kick 5 goals. Lily Rose Williamson played her part as well, bursting through packs with the fend off. She's been a good play for them. She loves the fend off. Loves Dustin Martin. So I wonder where the fend off came from. It came from Dusty, didn't it? And she used to barrack for Richmond, she said. So I see where she got that from. But she's been doing it very well. Also, that's something she's worked on, and credit to Lil for doing a great job there. And playing good footy as well, of course, not just giving people the fend off. But yeah, you know, Essendon, to their credit though, they were down by like 5 goals, like 28 points or something, thereabouts, 5 goals essentially. In the last quarter and a bit, they were phenomenal. The third quarter, I think they kicked 4 goals to 0. And they were very good. In the last quarter, they were within a shot and just didn't quite nail their opportunities in the last 5 minutes. In terms of the execution up forward, there was no numbers there, or the wrong opportunity to kick, and they kicked to the wrong side, or they miskicked it. So they had the opportunities to steal it, and credit them for sticking in it. Because you can see a lot of teams roll over, and Bombers didn't do that. They actually came back. Maybe the Pies got a bit complacent, because they should know how that felt when they were down by 22 points against the reigning premiers North Melbourne and actually came from behind and won. So at one point, I said to my mate that was there, I'm like, he goes for Collingwood. And I'm like, you will get the win, mate. You got it. The way you're going, Essendon aren't coming back. But to credit to them, they did. And they were phenomenal. Jada Richardson, Layla Prince, Abby McDonald. Brooke Plummer had a good last quarter. Maddie Ibrahim had a good part of the game in the middle patch as well. So, credit for them for sticking in it. That's the fight. Every team, Geelong, Carlton, and Casey, should watch that second half from Essendon. They could have easily rolled over and caved in, but they didn't, and they almost stole it. Yes, they didn't steal it, but watch that second half. If you're a club that's struggling in women's footy, in VFLW that is, watch that last half from the Bombers. They could have easily caved in, and they didn't, and they almost stole it. They were oh so close. A few little things go their way in terms of like a kicking target, having an option up forward at certain points in time. But Collingwood just had loose plays everywhere. Millie Lang, Molly Eastman, Tamara Henry. I think that was easily Tamara Henry's best game for the club since moving across from Adelaide's AFLW list. Again, if she wants to get back on the list as well, that's something she has to continue to do and step in the right direction for Tamara Henry. And same for Molly Eastman. Should be on the list. Now, one thing I will say is, how do I go about saying this on here? I overheard people, I won't name them or say what their role is. It's not list management, I'll tell you that, but I'm not telling you who. I overheard some people say, how is so-and-so not on a list? They were talking about Millie Peck, and I agree with those people as well. I couldn't believe it. Like, the way she's going now, if she continues this form, she's going to be on the list again. So, but then I thought about it a bit more. Like Richmond, she was at, unfortunately, done her ACL, so she didn't get to play last year at all. So, a bit unfortunate there. Did Richmond make the right call? Look, I don't think it was the wrong call, but now they've probably seen her form. They haven't got a list spot, so they can't get her back. But they've got the G train, Caitlin Greiser up there. They've got Sarah Hosking up there. Got Amelia Yassir up there. I'm forgetting someone else as well. Oh, damn it. They got Mackenzie Ford up forward as well. So they've got a lot of options, the Bombers. Now Paige Scott's come in from Essendon as well. So the Bombers, I'm sorry, not the Bombers, the Tigers, they've got a lot of options there. So I get it from that point of view, but they've probably seen this form and go, damn it, we want her back. But they don't have a list spot now, so have to wait and see. But, Richmond know what they're doing. They're a great club at the Tigers, and they'll do very well. But obviously they would hope that they would have her back. So we'll wait and see if she gets picked up again by someone else as well. Right, where are we? Box Hill 43, 6'7", 43 to Darabin, 1'5", They got a goal early, Darabin, and it was all over Red Rover from there. This is no surprise. They won 4 in a row, Darabin, and it's great credit to them. But they beat up on the sides around them. They are better than Carlton, they are better than Casey, and they're better than Geelong. But the other sides, I feel like they're a little bit off, those sides. And it's just the harsh truth. And losing their best player from this year in Lulu Beattie doesn't help. It puts more and more pressure on Ange Gokus, who had a good game on the weekend. She had 24 disposals and was really good. Alyssa Misford. Monique Di Matteo was very quiet, had like 3 disposals there, best key forward, and was second in the Coleman and was kept goalless. Matilda Van Berkel, I said what a star she is, and she played a good part on Monique Di Matteo. But yeah, you got a few players now they've got to rely on. Those 3 now in particular. With Lulu gone, Lulu had a big role for them, and she was phenomenal. But it's time for the other people on the squad to start stepping up and fill the shoes to some capacity what Lulu was doing, because you can't have Ange Gokus and Monique Di Matteo and Alyssa Misford keep doing the work. There's other players that have shown glimpses, but they're going to have to fill the shoes if they want to play finals, because there's still a chance. It's going to be very hard for them now, considering Lulu's gone, and, you know, the team just needs to be a bit more competitive against these sides to make the finals. And this was a good test for them, and unfortunately they didn't take it, but let's see how they go this week when they've got North Melbourne. And that is going to be hard for Darebin. So we'll have to wait and see how they go. Now, no sugarcoating this one. This was an absolute embarrassing performance from Geelong. North Melbourne 17-8, 110. Yes, 110 to Geelong 3-4-22. What I will say about this is, what are you doing, Geelong? Like, there's a thing called effort. And, I mean, how you can allow a team to score 17 goals, right? When the clock doesn't stop, it's, on average, it's 4-point-something goals a quarter. You lose a minute every time there's a goal. So you're essentially having a quarter. I think there was 7 or 8 goals in a quarter. I think it was 7 goals in the first quarter. So on average, you're conceding effectively a goal every 2.5 minutes, give or take some seconds either side, right? So there's a goal every 2.5 minutes in that first quarter on average, okay? And you've got to take it into account the 1 minute it takes the ball to come back, because that's why the clock should stop. So effectively, when you cut out the minute for the ball to retrieve back to the middle and everything like that, you're effectively conceding a goal every minute and a half in that first quarter. And that is completely unacceptable. How you can allow anyone to do that is just poor. Now, they know that that's poor. They probably don't need me to say it was poor. They know it's poor. But where are you at? Like, the recruiting was not good. I've said this before, and I'm going to keep on saying it until they fix this up. Stop recruiting local and recruit players from other clubs. Look at Box Hill. They picked the best players of the undrafted crop. Stacia Stevenson, Isla Baldwin, Emma Still, Amy Karras-Brett. There's plenty of them. And they're going, well, Mia Zielinski. They had Maddie Torpy. So the best of the best of the best undrafted crop. Get a few of those types. They're Amy Trinidad's. Get some former AFLW players. They got Jemima Woods, and she's been good. But that's all they got. And Jemima's been really good, and I want to stress it enough. She has been very important for them up forward. But she can't do it on her own. She needs support in that team. Mel Staunton's the skipper. Came across from Carlton. That's great. She's missed some games, though, as well. So besides those two, what are you doing? What are you doing? I predicted this preseason. This wasn't to be a smart ass. It was a fact that I thought they wouldn't win a game, or might win one, if that, when they play up against the other bottom sides. But they're not winning a game. They're not winning a game. They're not. Because if Casey play how they did on the weekend when they come up against Casey soon, I'm sure, Casey will win. Carlton, albeit not that great, will beat Geelong again if they play them again. They beat them in Geelong early in the year. They'll do it again. Who have Geelong got this week? They have got Carlton at Icon Park. Well, Carlton are winning that. So, and if Carlton don't win that, they should be very, very disappointed. Because how you can stand up to Sandy for a whole game the first time you played them, and the first half and a bit this week and just gone, you should be beating Geelong very, very easily. But we'll have to wait and see what happens this week. But, yeah, Nike to Jock, 7 goals, phenomenal. Charlotte Blair, 2 goals, 22, phenomenal. Renee Tanney, a goal and 20 was good. Stella Reid, a goal and 14 was phenomenal. Charlotte Ryan, she was good. But yeah, Hayley Peck, phenomenal. I mentioned earlier, I read off her stats when I had her in my team of the week. Yeah, Kiara Woods, who I've had on the podcast before, had her first official game for this season after being a train on. She did very well on her return to the club because she played a few games last year and did really well then. I'm surprised she wasn't on the list officially at that point. A key forward that can play as a backup ruck as well, and I think she played a part. Considering the limited opportunities she would have had for the ball to go down there, I think she played her role pretty well and pitched it in the ruck for Hayley Peck when she wasn't in the ruck. So I don't get to Kiara Woods. All right. Now, the last game I want to go through is Sandy and Carlton. Sandy, 6-7-43 to Carlton, 2-3-15. Now, the first quarter, I thought, oh, no, this bad patch of form is going to continue, and I thought it was going to continue. Second quarter was okay. Second half was phenomenal and outclassed Carlton. They were no match for us in the second half. But Amy Trindade for Carlton, best on ground easily, 30 disposals, like 8 clearances, like half her disposals contested, intercept possession, score involvements. She's a star, Amy Trindade. Simple as that. Abby Trugalis was really good for Sandy. Grace Hodder had some good moments. Stacey Livingston was fantastic. DJ Jolliffe, sorry, DJ. She was fantastic. Stacey Livingston was really good. Tashan Wister was really good. Chloe Sultry was really good. Izzy Hartog, who I've had on this channel before, she was good. That was probably her best game of the season with that Geelong game. So, all-round good performance. But Sophie Locke, 2 goals, 12 disposals. That one-handed grab. Imogen Evans also was really good for Sandy, about 16 disposals and about 5 clearances, I think it was off the top of my head. So she was good, Imogen Evans, who also could be on an AFLW list again soon. Same as Soph as well. I'll have to wait and see. But yeah, those players for Sandy were really good. And Amy Trindade was really good for Carlton, along with Nadia von Batouch. I thought Hannah Scott had a lot of tackles as well. I thought Octavia Di Donato was well held. I know her numbers look solid, and they probably were, but her impact I don't think was as good as she's had in other weeks, that's for sure. I think Sandy Codley influenced her. Maybe, I don't know if there was a tag on her, but she wasn't as good as she normally is. So that's reviewing the round 8 games. So now let's preview the round 9 games this week. And let's look at the fixture. Let's just say that there is 5 games again on the Saturday and 1 on the Sunday. So, on Saturday at 10:05, oh God, not this 10:05 crap again. Too early. Get real time slots, please. 11 o'clock onwards. No 10:30s, no 10s, or 10:05s, or 10:35s. Get rid of them from 11 onwards, please and thank you. The first game at Williamstown, DSV Stadium. Williamstown hosting the Bombers. Well, it's going to be a thriller. This is probably going to be one of the games of the round, if not the game of the round. I'll be tipping Essendon in this one by 5 points. Williamstown concerned me a little bit against Casey's, so I'm going to go Essendon by 5 points. Saturday, 11:05 a.m. at ETU Stadium in Port Melbourne. It is Port Melbourne hosting the Pies. Now, this is going to be freaking awesome. It's a shame, though, that no one can go to both these first 2 games because they're going to clash with each other. And by the time the first game finishes, you ain't making it to the second game in time. See, fixture people do better. So I would have loved to go on to both these games, but I cannot, obviously, now. Port Melbourne, Collingwood, 11:05 a.m. at ETU Stadium. It's Port Melbourne and Collingwood. I'm going to go for the Pies in this one by 10 points, but this is going to be a massive game of the round for me. Saturday, 12:05 p.m. at Casey Fields. It's Casey hosting Box Hill. I'm going Box Hill in this one by 50 points. North Melbourne hosting Darebin at Arden Street. Saturday, 12:05 p.m. I'll be tipping North Melbourne by 50 points in this one. Saturday, 1:05 p.m. at Whitten Oval. It's the Western Bulldogs hosting Sandy. Now, this is going to be a good game as well. This could go any which way. How many AFLW players are the Bulldogs going to play this week? Hopefully none, because that's what it should be, especially this late in the season, over halfway, and you're still playing your AFLW players, not good enough. And it's really unfair to your VFLW listed players that aren't getting a game regularly or at all because of this system that they're doing. I'll be tipping Sandy in this one by 10 points. Stacey Livingston invited a new spark to Sandy. Sophie Locke's form was really good. Imogen Evans as well, Abby Trugalis. So I've got Sandy winning this one by 10 points over the Bulldogs. And the final game to go through, which is the Sunday game, 11:05 a.m. at Icon Park. It's Carlton hosting Geelong. This is the game where it's going to be a bold call margin. Not for me, but maybe to some. I'll be going Carlton by 36 points. They beat them by 3 goals last time. They're playing better now. They've gone close to beating Sandy twice. I'll be tipping Carlton to beat Geelong by 36 points in this one. So my final thoughts are simply this. If you know any AFLW players, any VFLW players, or any other state league players, and you'd like to see them on the podcast in a goalkeeping challenge and or interview, please do send me a message and we'll try and get something sorted. Thank you all for watching this week's episode of the Scoops VFLW Game Changers. If you want to be a part of the show, if you do want to be a part of this show, send me a message on Instagram, AFL Info Live. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you all, and hopefully your team gets the win this week, especially mine. Thank you, and go Saints. And by the way, what I should mention before I wrap this up, just quickly looking at the ladder, North Melbourne, with 6 rounds to go, are on top spot on 24 points with a percentage of 205.7. Box Hill equal first on 168.5%. Eagle first also, Williamstown in third place on a percentage of 133.5, all on 24 points. My side, Sandy, are in fourth place on 22 points, so 2 points behind Eagle first. They're in fourth spot on 22 points with a percentage of 129.8. Now, their only team they have to worry about right now is Port Melbourne, who are a game behind them and a better percentage. In fifth place in the top 6 is Essendon on 20 points on 126.1%. And following them just behind on percentage is Collingwood, also on 20 points at 114.5. That is the top 6 right now. Port Melbourne are 2 points out of the top 6 on 18 with a percentage of 143, where Sandy's is 129. Western Bulldogs and Darebin are both on 16 points in that order. Bulldogs percentage of 121% exactly, and Darebin 89.1 on 16%. And the rest of the teams are no chance. Carlton are on 8 points on 69.9%, and equal last with no wins each. Casey on a percentage of 40.4%, and Geelong's percentage of 30%. Thank you all, and go Sandy this week.